What if I told you an entire advanced civilization vanished overnight? Atlantis, the legendary lost city that ruled the ancient world with technology we can't even explain. Golden temples, flying machines, energy crystals, then gone, swallowed by the ocean in a single day. Myth or the greatest archaeological cover-up in history? A story so epic, so mind-blowing, it's been debated for over 2,000 years. I'm talking about Atlantis, the lost city, the sunken empire, the advanced civilization that supposedly ruled the ancient world. But here's the thing, was Atlantis just a myth? Or did an entire advanced society really get wiped off the face of the earth in a single catastrophic event? Stick around, because what I'm about to show you will make you question everything you thought you knew about ancient history. We're talking underwater ruins, ancient technology, and evidence that keeps popping up in the most unexpected places. Let's break it all down. So, first things first, where does this whole Atlantis story even come from? The answer? Plato. Yeah, the legendary Greek philosopher who lived around 360 BCE. Plato wasn't some random dude making up bedtime stories. He was one of the most respected thinkers in human history. And in two of his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, he described Atlantis in incredible detail. According to Plato, Atlantis was a massive island empire located beyond the Pillars of Hercules. That's what they called the Strait of Gibraltar back then, basically the gateway between the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. Plato claimed that Atlantis existed about 9,000 years before his time. That would put it around 9600 BCE. Ancient as hell, right? Now, here's where it gets wild. Plato described Atlantis as a naval superpower with advanced technology, massive armies, and incredible wealth. The city itself was designed in concentric rings, alternating rings of land and water. At the center, a magnificent golden temple dedicated to Poseidon, the god of the sea. The Atlanteans supposedly had access to a mysterious metal called orichalcum, which was more valuable than gold. They built massive ships, constructed incredible architecture, and had knowledge far beyond any other civilization of that era. But then, disaster struck. According to Plato, the Atlanteans became greedy and corrupt. They tried to conquer Athens and other Mediterranean cities. The gods got pissed, especially Zeus, and in a single day and night of catastrophic earthquakes and floods, Atlantis sank into the ocean. Gone, completely destroyed, vanished beneath the waves. Now, skeptics will tell you Plato made this up as a philosophical allegory, a cautionary tale about the dangers of hubris and corruption. But what if he didn't? What if Plato was recording actual history that had been passed down through Egyptian priests? Because that's exactly what he claimed. Plato said he heard this story from his grandfather, who heard it from Solon, an Athenian lawmaker who traveled to Egypt. And the Egyptian priests, they supposedly had records going back thousands of years. So the question is, was Plato telling the truth? Let's dig in. For centuries, people dismissed Atlantis as pure fiction. But then, explorers and researchers started finding things, strange things, unexplained things, things that made the Atlantis story seem a lot less crazy. Let's talk locations first. Where the hell could Atlantis actually be? Over the years, researchers have proposed dozens of possible locations. The most popular theory, somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean, obviously. Some believe it's near the Azores Islands, where underwater mountains and volcanic activity could explain a sunken landmass. Others point to the Caribbean, specifically the Bimini Road in the Bahamas. In 1968, divers discovered an underwater rock formation that looks like a man-made road or wall. Massive limestone blocks arranged in a straight line for over half a mile. Coincidence? Or remnants of an ancient civilization? Then there's the Mediterranean theory. Some researchers believe Atlantis was actually the Minoan civilization on the island of Santorini, also called Thera. Around 1600 BCE, a massive volcanic eruption destroyed most of the island and triggered a tsunami that devastated the region. The Minoans were an advanced Bronze Age civilization with impressive architecture, art, and technology. Could this be Plato's Atlantis? The timeline's off, but the destruction matches. And here's where it gets even crazier. In 2011, a researcher named Richard Freund claimed to have found Atlantis in southern Spain. Using satellite imagery and ground-penetrating radar, his team discovered what looked like a massive ancient city buried in marshlands. The site showed evidence of concentric rings and massive structures. Freund believes this could be Atlantis, destroyed by a tsunami sometime around 2000 BCE. But wait, there's more. Some theories place Atlantis in Antarctica. Yeah, you heard that right, Antarctica. The idea is that before the continent was covered in ice, it might have been habitable. Ancient maps like the Piri Reis map from 1513 show Antarctica's coastline with incredible accuracy, way before it was officially discovered. How did ancient mapmakers know what was under the ice? Unless Atlantis was there before the ice came. Mind blown. Now let's talk about the evidence that makes this whole thing even more compelling. Because it's not just underwater formations and old maps. There are ancient texts from cultures all over the world describing similar stories. The ancient Egyptians, for example, had records of a great civilization that was destroyed by floods. The Sumerians talked about advanced beings who came before them. Hindu texts describe flying machines called vimanas and advanced cities that were destroyed in ancient wars. The Mayans had legends of a homeland across the ocean that sunk beneath the waves. Even Native American tribes have flood stories and tales of advanced ancestors. It's like every ancient culture on Earth remembered something, a collective memory of a lost civilization. And then there's the technology. Researchers point to structures around the world that ancient people supposedly couldn't have built with primitive tools. The Great Pyramid of Giza, Stonehenge, Machu Picchu, Göbekli Tepe. These sites show precision engineering that's hard to explain. Some theorists believe Atlanteans, or survivors of Atlantis, spread across the world after the disaster and helped build these monuments. They brought knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, architecture, and agriculture. And here's something wild: crystals. Atlantean legends talk about powerful energy crystals that powered their entire civilization. Edgar Cayce, the famous American psychic, claimed to have visions of Atlantis. He described massive crystals that could store and transmit energy wirelessly. Sound crazy? Maybe. But Nikola Tesla experimented with wireless energy transmission, and modern science is now exploring crystal-based technology for data storage and energy. What if the Atlanteans figured this out thousands of years ago?
So what actually destroyed Atlantis? According to Plato, it was earthquakes and floods. But let's dig deeper. Geologists and archaeologists have studied ancient catastrophic events, and there are a few that could match the Atlantis story. First, volcanic eruptions. The Thera eruption I mentioned earlier was one of the largest volcanic events in human history. It literally blew apart an entire island. The ash cloud would have darkened skies for months. The tsunami would have been hundreds of feet tall. Entire civilizations around the Mediterranean were devastated. Second, asteroid or comet impact. Some researchers believe a massive space rock could have hit the Atlantic Ocean around 9,600 BCE. This would have caused massive tsunamis, earthquakes, and climate change. Evidence? There's a layer of sediment in some regions that shows signs of impact-related materials. Third, crustal displacement. This is a controversial theory, but hear me out. Some geologists believe the Earth's crust can shift suddenly due to imbalances in ice caps or tectonic activity. If a massive landmass suddenly dropped into the ocean, it would create exactly the kind of catastrophe Plato described. And fourth, human-caused disaster. What if the Atlanteans had technology so advanced it became dangerous? Some theories suggest they experimented with energy weapons or unstable power sources. Edgar Cayce claimed their misuse of crystal technology led to explosions that destabilized the continent. Whatever the cause, the result was the same. A thriving civilization wiped out in a single day. Thousands, maybe millions of people gone. Knowledge lost forever. Or was it? Here's the thing most people don't talk about. Even if Atlantis sank, not everyone would have died. There would have been survivors, people who escaped on ships, refugees who fled to distant lands. And those survivors would have carried their knowledge with them. This could explain the sudden appearance of advanced civilizations around the world. Ancient Egypt, for example, seemed to appear almost overnight with fully developed writing, architecture, and mathematics. The Sumerians in Mesopotamia showed up with advanced astronomy and legal systems. The Olmecs in Mesoamerica built massive stone heads and pyramids. Where did this knowledge come from? Some researchers believe Atlantean survivors spread across the globe. They became the gods or wise teachers in local legends. The Egyptian god Thoth, the Sumerian Enki, the Mayan Kukulkan, all described as bringers of knowledge and civilization. And here's something interesting: DNA studies. Recent genetic research shows that ancient populations had more genetic diversity than we thought. There are haplogroups, genetic markers that don't fit neat migration patterns. Could these be traces of Atlantean bloodlines? We don't know for sure, but it's compelling. And then there are the mystery schools. Secret societies throughout history have claimed to preserve ancient Atlantean knowledge. The Freemasons, the Rosicrucians, the Knights Templar. They talk about ancient wisdom and lost secrets. Coincidence? Or are they protecting real knowledge from a lost civilization? With modern technology, satellites, sonar, underwater drones, we're able to explore the ocean floor like never before. And guess what? We keep finding weird stuff. In 2001, researchers discovered massive stone structures off the coast of Cuba. Using sonar, they found what looked like pyramids, roads, and buildings at a depth of about 2,000 feet. The Cuban government investigated, but then mysteriously shut down the project. What did they find? We still don't know. In Japan, there's the Yonaguni Monument, a massive underwater rock formation that looks like a stepped pyramid. Some geologists say it's natural, others say it's clearly man-made. The structures show right angles, terraces, and even what looks like carvings. If it's man-made, it's at least 10,000 years old, older than the pyramids. Then there's the Baltic Sea anomaly. In 2011, a Swedish diving team found a bizarre circular object on the ocean floor. It's about 200 feet in diameter, with a disc shape and a tail. Some say it's a sunken UFO. Others think it's a remnant of an ancient structure. Divers who visited it report equipment malfunctions and strange electromagnetic readings. And let's not forget Google Earth discoveries. Amateur researchers have found underwater grid patterns off the coast of Africa that look like city streets. Massive rectangular formations in the Atlantic that could be sunken buildings. Are these natural or evidence of something more? So here's the big question. Was Atlantis real? The honest answer, we don't know for sure. But here's what we do know. Plato's account was detailed and specific. Ancient cultures worldwide have flood legends and stories of lost civilizations. There's physical evidence of catastrophic events in Earth's history. Underwater structures keep being discovered that don't fit our understanding of ancient history. And advanced ancient sites suggest knowledge that seems out of place for the time. Put it all together, and you've got a compelling case.
Maybe Atlantis wasn't exactly as Plato described it. Maybe the timeline's off. Maybe the location's different. But something happened. An advanced civilization existed. It was destroyed, and its legacy survived. Whether you call it Atlantis, Mu, Lemuria, or something else, the story persists. And the more we explore, the more evidence we find. The truth is, human history is way more complex than we've been taught. There are gaps in our knowledge, mysteries we can't explain. And maybe, just maybe, Atlantis is the key to understanding our true origins. So the next time you hear someone dismiss Atlantis as just a myth, remember this: every legend starts with a grain of truth, and the ocean keeps its secrets well. Who knows what we'll discover next? Maybe one day we'll find the ruins of Atlantis lying on the ocean floor. Massive temples, ancient technology, proof of a lost golden age. Until then, the mystery continues. And that, fam, is the story of the lost city of Atlantis. Mind blown yet? Drop a comment below. Do you think Atlantis was real? And if you enjoyed this deep dive into ancient mysteries, smash that like button and subscribe for more mind-bending history content. Because trust me, we're just getting started. The truth is out there, and we're gonna find it. Peace out.